Welcome to my channel. This is Nairi, and I did promise to show you how I was going to do outside signature beading. So it was the first time I've ever done it, so I thought, I'll tell you what, I know what I'll practice in a couple of signatures, see how it goes, see what the easiest way was to do it, and then I'll show you one. So here are the beaded signatures. I've used quite big beads because I wanted to get my needle through there, and I just thought it was safer to go for those. So I need to order some more. I've got enough for the middle one. So yeah, I do have enough for the middle one. I've also changed the topper. So if you were following me, I didn't like it, so I changed the topper as well. So I've been busy, just haven't been busy showing you what I've been doing. All right, so the way that I do it, okay, so the main difficulty is that there's lots of fabric layers on here, so you can't actually see the holes that I've already made. So I've already made the holes using this grid here, where I've worked out where the outside of the paper is and where I want the first, second and third hole to be, and then the 5 signatures. I've literally drawn all that out, stabbed the holes through, but you can't see the holes on the other side. So I'm going to show you the best way that I've managed to overcome that problem. In a minute you'll see what I do. So I'm going to use my ruler. So I've worked out that very roughly I'm coming in 2 centimeters either end of the signature. So this signature is going to prove to be a bit more difficult, so I've popped this quite narrow paper here in the middle, but we should be all right. I've just got to get it all where it needs to be. I do find that it's better to clip it a little bit, but I'll show you that I'm going to clip the wax thread in a minute when it comes through. So let's just get this right again. This is a process that can't be rushed, I found. So if you do get a bit impatient, just try not to. Try to control yourself, because it takes a bit of time just to grapple with it a little bit. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to be able to clip that middle paper, so let me just take that one out for a minute. It could just be easier for me to do this. I'll worry about that middle paper in a minute, because to a certain extent, as long as the middle hole goes through it, the middle, thread goes through it, will be all right. But these need to be straight-ish. I'm not that bothered if they're not perfect, but you might be, so clipping is the answer, really. It's not perfect, but I'll be trimming, I expect. Okay, let me just see if I can get that in a bit more. Okay, so let's move these clips along so I'm not in the way. Now, so you can see that I've got this like matched up now with the previous signature, so I know it's in the right place. So I'm going to open it, and as I say, I already know that these holes here, that one's a bit wayward, I can see, but they are 2 centimeters in. So that's what I'm going to do in the middle here. Get my ruler. This is just boring, all this lot, but it's necessary. 2 centimeters. Let's come more here, actually. See where that middle is. Let me get that middle sorted a bit better. Making pen marks along the way that I don't need and I don't want, I can see. It's because I'm faffing with you guys on the camera. At least you see it for real, the real situation, not the polished one. Right, let's put that there. Okay, so then we've got 2 obvious holes. Okay, so now let's get the awl out. The all or nothing, I call it. So all I'm going to say about these awls, they're super sharp and you could do yourself some massive damage. So please be careful. Let's make sure we get this the right way up, shall we? Please be careful when you're stabbing through, because it's no fun if you're on the other side of this. Just a little bit of a safety call there. So I'm just going to go straight through that hole, keep it straight, don't go diagonally wonky or anything. Try to find the middle of the crease and go straight through. So there's my first hole. Don't be afraid to make it a very definite hole, so it's going to make it a lot easier when you come to do it. Let me just fold this again a minute. Kind of here, stab through, keep my finger out the way. So that's 2 holes there, okay? The reason why I'm making it very definite holes is because then I can see where I've done them on the outside. Okay, so I can see that this one's a bit skew with here, this hole here, but I'm not sure it's going to make much difference, honestly. So then I'm going to mark the other one so I get it exactly right. I'm doing that on the outside here. I'm sure you'll see different ways of doing this. This is the way I found for me anyway. And I'm going to go through this way now. Up 3. I've got my 3 holes, but obviously I had that middle paper, so we need to include that one, don't we? So just get that roughly in the middle. I'll come around this way. It is always harder if you're going to introduce papers that aren't the same size. I must admit, it does complicate things. So if you want to keep it simple, just keep your papers the same size and you don't have as much faffing around to do. One as well. Haven't been on here for a while, guys, mainly because it's been half term for children. It's quite hard to get in here then. All right, so there we go. So we have all that together. Sorry about the motorbike, it's always the way, isn't it? Start filming and all the noise starts happening. Okay, I think we're there. So as you can see, these holes are on line, this one isn't, but I'm not going to worry too much because when I come back out and in, I'm going to be using the awl to help me anyway. So let's get some thread. So I'm sure you've heard, or you may not have heard, but most people say 3 lengths of whatever it is you're doing. So, but I like to do more than that. I like to have more than enough. So I'm going to do 3, but I'm going to do more than 3. Because I like to have it all dangling down. I like lots of flexibility to be able to cut more off rather than not have enough. So this is wax thread, because wax thread is very durable, it goes through nice and easily. And then I have a huge needle. Let me show you what a huge needle is. Let's thread this through. This is a really big needle. Personally, that's what I prefer, and that's one of the reasons why I've had to have like quite open beads, because I did try some more normal size beads for this and it didn't work. But obviously, depending on what needle you use, you might be able to go smaller and you might prefer smaller. So this is just my first try of it, so it's not that easy. Okay, so now with the signature, I'm sure you'll know that you go through the first hole first. So let's just get that through. So there we go, that's nice and easy, gone through nice and easy, hasn't it? And it's not going to be too difficult to go through here because I can see that hole. It's when I'm threading back through the other side, I'm not going to be able to see. So I'm going to go through here, push it through, there it is, nice and easy. That's an easy bit, so putting that through. It's a start, isn't it? Come on out, you can. Now I need that thread to come through to where I need it to kind of stay. So I'm going to keep pulling, she says. There we go. And I'm going to leave about, I don't know, that much. And the way that I'm going to hold that is through the clip. The other clip, sorry. I can tell it's a while since I haven't been filming, so I'm faffing around a bit. Okay, so I'm coming in probably down the bottom. So I'm going to hold it at the top. Just clip that there so that I don't lose that thread and it doesn't keep pulling through when I'm doing this complicated thing that I'm about to do. Okay, just come along a little bit more like that. Okay, so now is the beads. It's a nice bit, isn't it? So if you see here, I'm going to be coming back down through here, but we're not going to worry about that for a minute. We're going to get the beads on. So let's get the beads out. As I say, these are quite big beads. They're bought ones, but you can cut up an old necklace with a soft sort of string to it. There's lots of different ways you can get hold of beads, but you do need a nice big opening. As I say, not as big necessarily as what I'm doing. So I'm only going to put 5 on because I'm quite big, and I could have put more on, but what you don't want to do is you can't cram it too much because it's going to make it really hard to go back through the other side. So this one, and this one. I'm kind of going for blues because of the journal, but I've added in some other colours because I think that shows a little bit of extra interest happening. Okay, so there's 5 there. Now, the point is how am I going to find that hole? There's actually no way of seeing it. So I struggled with this yesterday, which is why I didn't show you the first 2 signatures, but I found a way of getting around it. So we're going to come back, open this up a little bit more, not lose those beads, not lose that either. I'm going to find that signature, and then I'm going to use the awl to come through here again, make sure I don't make a separate hole, and now I'm going to use the awl to go through that hole straight down so that I'm not making another hole, but we're going to be able to see where it is on the other side. So now you can see where it is, and this is going to make it a whole lot easier. It's still not easy, I'm not going to lie, this is quite a challenge, but I do think if you can be patient you'll get there. So now we're going to use that awl to guide me back through, very near to it, and then gradually sort of pull it all through, and then the needle will go through where that awl is sort of coming back out again. There we go. Now it might be that it hasn't gone right the way through the signature, but we can guide that to happen now. It's really, we need to get it through the journal, and then once it's popped through the journal, as you can see there, we can then get it neatly through there. Just make sure all the papers go in nicely. It's not going to be the middle one, obviously. And then just gently pull it up through, very gently, and then we'll have a look at what the beads are doing on the other side. Hopefully they're doing okay. We seem to have got a bit of a thread that needs to be pulled through. That thread there, it's a bit long. And pull it, fairly tight. And there they are, okay? So it's obviously not tight enough in a minute, so we're going to pull it a little bit more now. Now we know that we're happy with that. We've got lift off. To be honest, that's probably the hardest bit. Now we've got the middle tie here, which we can kind of let go for a minute, see what's going on with it. And when you're on the inside, you're just going all the way back up to the top now, because it doesn't matter having one piece here. So again, we're going to carefully guide it through where it already was. We don't want extra sort of holes forming and things like that. So there it is, look, nice big hole there. And this is not too difficult because we're going to be going through the hole that we can already see. Going to go straight down through, and it's come out because there was a hole there, we just couldn't see it, and then we're pulling it through. Just keep going until we pull it through without pulling the whole of the signature back through. Obviously we should be able to. Hang on a minute, there we go. I did wonder. Okay, so now we've still got some slack there, so let me just pull that a bit tighter. You just got to be a little bit gentle because you don't want to rip your more fragile papers. I mean, I think my kit's quite chunky, but you might be using all original papers or stuff like that. You don't want to be kind of ruining them in them. Let's see how we're doing. So that's that bit there. That's quite taut there. And that I'm going to just pull a little bit harder, just give it a little bit of, tension. And I'm still perhaps going to put the clip on it for a minute so that we don't let it doesn't start running back through. for a moment. If I can get the clip on it. Not the easiest thing in the world to do, is it? Right. Okay. So now we've got that bottom row of beads. Now we can do the top row of beads. I've just about got enough of them, I think. So I'll do this. So I've had to order them. So these did come from Temu. Yes, not my favourite place, honestly, but I was trying to find wide opening beads that were all like a bluey colour, or, you know, possibly even pinky, and I just couldn't find what I was after. So Temu it was. 3. It would be better if this one wasn't here, I suppose, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's not the end of the world, is it? And there. And I might put more than 5 on this one, because I've got to order more anyway, and this will be the end of this signature, so I'll put that on as well. So I've got 6 on this one. Okay, it's pretty, isn't it? So then we do have the same problem of trying to get back through. So I've got to get this all through the middle. I think I've got 2 signatures trapped there. There we go. I'm going to come through that middle again. Don't want to damage the paper, so I'm just going to be really gentle and try to make sure that I'm actually going through the hole that is already there. Especially when it's the awl, because the awl can really, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Rip things up. So it's just gently through, okay? Coming back through here so we can see where that middle hole is. I mean, we could have had a good guess because we've already got a signature, you know, coming up through. But there it is. I'm just going to actually make it happen. Be a bit brutal with it. And now I need to get this needle to go through where that's just come through. So I'm just going to pop my needle where I can see the hole forming from that awl, and I should be able to get that needle through. It didn't last time, but should be able to this time. Yes. Well, it's not in the right place, is it? That's why. I'll just redo it. There we go. So that does happen. It does. That's why it makes it quite hard, I think. Okay, so we're coming up through. I can feel the beads tightening on the other side, which I'll show you in a minute. I've got my hand on it. But more importantly is to come up in the right place here without wrecking these papers. So we're going to come through here. Try to get possibly slightly the other side of that hole. See, it's actually fine. It's just this middle paper's a bit of a situation. We've got it through. So now we're through. It'd be better it's the other side of that wax thread. I honestly don't think it makes much difference as long as you tie it tight, but it's nice to have it both sides if you can, like that. I'm just going to gently tighten. Of course, we've got beads on the other side, so let's have a look. And there they are. And okay, that's not exactly meeting that signature on the other side, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It could be better. It could be better, but it's not bad. It's pretty neat. You know, especially for a novice like me, okay? If I can do these things, my loves, you can. I've got to be the most impatient person in the world. Nobody would understand why I'm making junk journals, because it wouldn't naturally be me, but I do find it very rewarding and it makes me grow my patience. So we've got a lovely piece of strand coming down there now, so let's just let go of these because we don't need these anymore. And yeah, it's slightly wonky because the hole was slightly wonky already, wasn't it? But in the grand scheme of things, we've got some nice papers all lined up now. So those are the 3 signatures, and there's 2 more to go when the rest of my beads come. So the next thing I want to do is I want to make some sort of folio, or should we say removable signature, at the end of this journal, because I've made this flap for it. So what will happen is the back removable one will fold inward like that, and then the journal will close like that. Okay, so I've got some papers out. And I thought if you're new to signature making anyway, this would be a nice simple thing for you to kind of watch and probably be able to replicate yourself as well. I might use this as the outside, we'll see. Just grab some papers. So this is part of my kit here, so in a way it just makes sense to have that as the outside, but as I say, I might want to use this faux leather, but I'm only going to have it as a small part of it. So let me see. Okay, so we're going to have to trim this down so that it doesn't overlap at all, otherwise it definitely wouldn't work. So let's just fold that and make this the kind of template for the rest of the papers, because these are going to need to all conform a little bit. So let's just chop this up. So I'll chat to you whilst I'm doing this. So we've had a week off with the boys. Haven't done a huge amount, but it's gone okay, I think. I've got a busy week coming up with appointments and things, especially for my son who we pulled out of school. We've got a disability team coming to see us and hopefully support us, so it's quite an important meeting. Yeah, it's just been generally harder to film with teenage sons around and grandchildren and that sort of thing. But I've also been struggling over wanting to do the signatures. So I don't know if you're like me, like when you're at a difficult part of your junk journal, you don't want to do it and you know you've got to concentrate more. So I think I've been a bit worried about actually attacking it. I've never done outside signatures before, I've never done beading before, so I was a bit knowing I needed to have it together to actually film. So I think that was part of the problem as well. So it's whether we want that on there like that. I'm not sure about it. It's quite thick, so we'll see in a minute. Okay, so this is nice, isn't it? As I say, we need this one to be the guide. We don't want anything thicker than that, so could be, I guess that could go in the middle like that, couldn't it? Then I've got this one. This is quite thick, so I'm not sure about that. I think it's nice though. I'll cut it down. The difference with this signature and the rest of them is that the others are going to be set inside the journal, whereas this can be taken out. So it's just a little bit of fun for somebody buying it, isn't it, that they have a different facility in the journal. Chop that up. There we go. Yeah, that's terrible cutting, but we can pop that down like that. If there's anybody watching me who keeps on giving me this thumbs down when you're watching my videos, I strongly suggest that you go and watch somebody else if you don't like it, you know? Anyway, so I had a bit of trouble with the battery dying on me, so I've done a little bit of cutting already. Just cut some of the papers a little bit more down to size, so you can see. Now, being that this one's going to be the guide here, as you can see it's too tall on the top and the bottom, so what I thought I'd do is just make some pockets at the top and the bottom. So I'll do that, so that we don't have to cut it down, but we can actually use that as like pockets and stuff in the journal. Gives it a little bit more interest, doesn't it? Fold that down like that. So that's going to become the outside sheet, so let's just double check. Yeah, so in goes this nice original piece of gardening book. It's going to go in. I've trimmed this card down, it's a bit thick, but I've trimmed that one down, but as you can see it's going to have to go a little bit further, but again we can make that into some outside pockets, so let's do that. Fold that down. Try to get it as even as possible. I can always come back and tighten up those folds, you know, the way that I want them to be, but just roughly for a minute. So we want to get the signature together. Right, go in there, you can go in there. Then we have some old graph paper. I'm thinking that can go there. Then we have some coffee dyed paper. That seems to fit okay. Okay, that's coming out quite a lot. But those will be cut down. I'll cut those down. Then we have this one, which I think I'd like to see go more in the middle, like that. And then this one, and then this one, which I put some pockets on the edge, like that. And then this one. Well, that's quite a thick signature, to be fair. But I probably won't be adding much, in fact, much ephemera, if any, in this one. This will just be for someone to enjoy and use. So I'm not going to worry about the stuff that's hanging over for a minute. I think we've got roughly where we need to go with it. There. And let me just check I'm happy. It cannot be rushed, as much as it might be a little bit boring for you guys. It's got to be right. Kind of happy there. We're upside down, aren't we? But we're okay. We are the right way up. Good. Right. Just wanted to check that. Okay, I think we're there. Took a bit of faffing around, didn't it? And let's get the signature in. Now, in theory, this should be a whole lot easier than what I've just showed you, but it won't be if I can't find my needle, will it? There we go, I got it. So this signature might get held in by, say, sari silk, elastic, it might even just be clipped in. I don't know yet. Right, let's go for the same principle of over 3. So 1, 2, 3, and a bit more. Let's give ourselves plenty. And get the needle thread. Should be able to thread this big boy, shouldn't I? Right. Now, as yet, I've not made the holes, have I? So let's measure. Probably going to measure and kind of come in from the outside, being that I've got so many different size papers. So we don't want it to be too vastly different from what we have as the main signature, so I need to bear that in mind. In which case I'll be coming in 2 centimeters again on the edge, like so. But from the one paper that I'm using as my main paper, not the rest of them, because that would just confuse the issue. So nice big mark on there, and nice big mark on there. She says, not being able to get the pen working. I think I'm going to be able to see that okay. And then a halfway mark, because I'm not putting it through these, so I'm just going to do a halfway mark, which is going to be half of 18 roughly, so about 9. It's kind of there, very roughly. Now, I don't need to use the awl, but I'm going to, because I prefer to do it that way. So let me just grab that. So I do apologise, but I had to do this off camera because I just keep running out of battery. I'm talking about the camera, not myself. So what I did do is I used the awl, this object again, to go through that way. When you've got lots of different size papers, it is harder, so you can cut them down first if you like. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of get them where I wanted to afterwards. So you can do it either way, but obviously holding them in place is quite difficult when they're all the different sizes. So as you can see, I've got the signature in there, look, tied up, and it's come through quite neat on the outside, so I'm quite happy with that. And then I chopped down the papers afterward, but I've folded a lot of these in so that we've got pockets and things that we can use later in this sort of single removable signature. So I'm quite happy with that. So that is going to sit in there, and then I've got to find a way of fastening it in. So I could make a pocket there, or I could make a tie, and that will fold in like that, and then that will come in like that, and then we'll need some sort of fastener on the outside, possibly something to hold this in place as well before we put the two other signatures in. So I've got to think of a way that I want this to happen, how I want it to be, because obviously I don't want that dropping down, but I want it to be easily got out as well. So that's where we've got to. Hope you've enjoyed that. There's the beads, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you.